I'm Lauren, and welcome to Improving the World. I'm an international improviser based in Hong Kong, and I speak with amazing women of improv all over the world. Today, I talk to Ilka Luza. She is a German in Dusseldorf, Germany, the home of Augustus Gloop. I know you knew that already. Hashtag Real Doll Lover. And we're looking at viewpoints. So how changing your viewpoint changes your improv and your life? This is big stuff we talk about here. P.S. Ilka, my heart sings getting to interview her and edit this. I hope that you enjoy. Everyone, welcome to Improving the World. Today I am joined from, clearly the gorgeous Dusseldorf by Ilka. Hello.
Hi, Lauren. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Many things today, actually, a bit of a mishmash, but viewpoints among them. So hence I am on this, I think, mountain or hillside top in, God knows where, but somewhere stunning. Maybe I'm in the Swiss Alps, but not very high. You're an improviser by trade. You have a fascinating, I believe, educational background that you use in improv called, quote unquote, viewpoints. So I was thinking how I see things, and it is that, but more so. So tell me about viewpoints in improv.
Very fascinating. Most people think viewpoints, point of view. And of course, that's what it is. Basically, a movement, technique, or philosophy founded by an American dancer named Mary Overly. It helps you to look at the world through different lenses of perception, different viewpoints. So the system, and I wrote it down so that I don't forget anything, is an abbreviation: STEMS: story, time, emotion, movement, and space. You look at the world through those lenses. There's a lot of exercises that go with that. You can spend hours and hours and hours and days just doing one of them. It's really fascinating. So one of them would be, and this is one I use a lot in my workshops, starting and stopping. You do just a spacewalk through the space you're in, and you stop and you go. That's basically it. I feel I could do that in your background. I would love to do the background.
It's a little chilly here, so you might not want to come, but otherwise it's...
Yeah, I could see here.
Yeah. I feel like starting walking and stopping walking, I could be very excellent at this. So is it more than just that, or is it about the simplicity?
It is a lot about simplicity, and it's breaking down the world into these very, very simple, very approachable steps. And I guess that's what I love about it. What fascinates me is that in its simplicity, you can spend hours just on one aspect of reality. Like if we would look at your background, we could look at so space is one of the points. Topography, like how is the surface? How far apart are the mountains? Would I fit through the little tiny space that's between the trees behind you? Stuff like that. You could spend hours with that. And that changes your perception as a performer and the way you approach playing with others. And that's lovely.
Yeah, as a person who loves eating and also bakes bread, it's flour, salt, water, yeast. The simpler it is, the harder it is in a certain kind of way to achieve perfection, whatever that means. I get it. I needed a food analogy to make me understand life. How does your viewpoint improv work and educational background lend to you performing differently or teaching differently? Do you feel like it is really different from other schools of thought in improv?
I think so. It's a lot in the nonverbal, silence, or just sounds. I like talking, obviously, because I talk to you now, but I also love the silences and the pauses. And I love what happens at the beginning and the end of a pause. Like, when you have a performer either just entering the stage or seconds before that, those are the magic moments, really. And Viewpoints teaches you a little bit to look at those closer.
I like that because it feels like those are moments that maybe we would let go of sometimes or forget about because we're so much focusing on, the meat of the scene work. And so it's adding attention to the detail, the periphery detail that we might otherwise throw to the wayside.
Absolutely. And there's little nuggets to be found there. When you look at people, when they think they're not being observed, that's golden. That's how we actors work on our trade. Like we sit on the bus, obviously not now because we're all like this, but you look at them and you find little mannerisms or just the overall atmosphere of how someone just sits there. And that's beautiful to me. I love that because improv is a lot about talking, let's be honest. It's a lot about justifying and talking and filling silences. And I want to leave gaps in silences.
Speaking of the specific little things, you are a person who loves little funky, useless facts or interesting genres or different things. Tell me about some of the things you're fascinated with or you like to be obsessed with.
Well, obviously, I'm obsessed with superheroes. So Wonder Woman is like my spirit animal. And the moment I found out that she was invented by someone who was very much into women's rights, I was like, oh, this is very interesting, stuff like that. To look behind the obvious information is very fascinating to me. The whole realm of superheroes and science fiction is a great field for that. If you look at background stories of heroes or how happy you can make people if you know something for real on stage, like the whole Star Trek, Star Wars controversy. I mean, you could be booed off stage if you make mistakes. I don't know if you had that.
You're making me want to go up on stage, try a mistake and see. I kind of want to see what happens.
Yes, and that's also the challenge, not to be like, oh, I'm going to do this right. That's also something I love about knowing, is then knowing when you mess something up, and it's fine. Knowledge is power in that case.
So I have this funny thing where if I feel that there is a growing wave of some social media or thing and I don't know about it, I want to go know about it so that I know enough that I can put it in a show and it'll be relevant. So as an example, I'd never seen the Kardashians and people kept talking about this. So I went and watched some so that I knew what they were talking about. I have to know what's going on. Are you like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was one of the first to catch on to Pokemon Go years and years ago when it was very popular. And so I did that in scenes. I did an open air show here in Germany, I think 2,000 people almost. And so the 4 people who knew about it, they were really happy. And me.
So I was learning about Jews in Ethiopia who were airlifted out by the Israeli Secret Service, which is something that I didn't have a knowledge of. And I started learning all about this. And then I found a space in a show where I could use this. And I was so excited to give pieces of information to this moment. And a lot of the other players were like, what? But there were people in the audience peppered around who were like, I know this fact, this is accurate. And I was so joyous for that.
Isn't that great? That feels so good. Yeah. And you do it for those 2 or 3 people. And yourself, of course.
And, yeah, exactly. You're right.
And the puzzled looks of your colleagues. Like, what's she talking about? I love that. I really love it. And so that's why I feel gathering information is great.
I just mentioned space there, and I want to shift gears about space, and then I'm going to pivot back. There's a master plan at work here. So there's always a master plan. So
of course.
Yeah. So the idea of space, especially right now, 2020 and this period of time in human history with #MeToo and a lot of different things in the world, in improv and social media, that women are starting to have a more clear and maybe loud voice to do with certain aspects. And I'm hearing discussions about space more often. So tell me about your thinking to do with space specific to women and this idea of taking space.
It's mostly about us not taking up enough space, I think, on stage and off stage. I have a workspace in our house, but it's occupied at the moment because homeschooling is going on. So I can go there. So I obviously share that. And I think that's symbolic for what we are all going through as women, at least of my generation, that we are not really good at taking up the space that we want to take up. And there might be a lot of reasons for it. In my case, I'm being very polite a lot on stage. Mostly, I will give you your space. I will give it to you. Whenever I don't do that, I feel I do better. There's not a lot of competitional improv that I enter. When I do, and when I make a conscious decision to be like, nope, this is my space, I'm going to take it up, I end up doing really well. So I wonder if I should do that more often.
Well, I mean, and improv is such a parallel for life, at least in my humble opinion. So I heard you talking about your physical space in your house, your office space, and how it's something that is being used right now and it's a shared space. And then you're talking about on stage. And I guess the two are really mirroring each other. Is it just you? Do you see this in others as well?
Oh, absolutely. I see it in a lot of colleagues and then friends, full-time working. I think it's mostly moms that I would know. I guess it's also women I know who have a job, a career here, but don't take up the space in the house that they would need for that. Like they have a little nook somewhere, or they have a desk in the bedroom.
Yeah, so you mentioned politeness, and I was also wondering if this is a biological thing. So I haven't made humans, but I wonder if there's something to do with the biology of women whereby you have been created and developed throughout time to be ready to nurture and take care, whether or not that's your intention or you want to, but to take care of others. And so you need to be near them and be in a space so that you're ready and alert to care. I don't know. What do you think?
For sure. I have a kid and I've been through the stage of waking up every night or not sleeping at all. And it's ingrained in you. Like even now, while we're talking, there's a secret master plan in my head. What am I going to cook today? I would say I concentrate on the needs of others. Yes, I do that. I think it's biological for sure. Giving space or attention or time to others that you could have used yourself.
I'm just thinking about, I had the weirdest analogy, so bear with me. But You're in Germany, so I feel like this fits very well with some stereotypes if we want to go there. I was thinking about sadism and masochism. And I was thinking about this whole idea, this famous one of like, the executive who works in an office all day and is giving orders. So all they want to do is just be on the bottom and to be whipped. And I was wondering if there is a scenario where you are taking care of others, sharing your space, having someone tug on you, you're thinking about dinner. And so when you can put that to the side and pause it, you can be wacky. So you said that when you take your space, you're a better improviser and you can open up to the possibilities on stage. Do you think that's specifically because you can hit pause on mom or hit pause on space share?
Yes. I think that's, I'm sorry, I have to think a little bit about the masochism. I'm trying to think if there's a career in there for me as well, because life exists in the juxtapositions, I feel, and the middle ground and the gray is not that interesting, although 50 Shades of Grey now comes. You know what I mean. I think so. I think that the pause needs to be hit hard and more often so that I can go into performer gear. Yes. And it's interesting because now that we're streaming shows from home, and then when my son is there, he's 11, he's not a baby, but he's very tired and we stream late at night. So he's like, I'm streaming, I'm talking to the people, I'm talking with the chat, I'm doing stuff, and he's here almost sleeping, doing God knows what, playing video games or just hanging like very tired like this, and I'm talking to the people, and I'm down here, I'm like Mom needs to work now. I guess if you see it on stream. But
so coming back to where we started with Viewpoints,
where were we?
Yeah. Where did we start this? This concept of viewpoints and how you can put on these different glasses, see through a different filter. Bear with me. Do you think that the momness is a filter? It's this idea as well of masks, right? That we're always putting on a different mask to face different people in the world. Is the momness one of the filters? Is the sharing space a filter? Is the being on stage a filter? Are they viewpoints? Or am I totally screwing up this?
No. You're saying you're opening doors here that are very, I didn't even know there was a door. I think you hit it on the head. I think that's it. I always thought of it as different roles, characters, like being her and then her, putting on superhero costume and then you're someone else. But I think if you really look at it this way, that they're filters or lenses of perception, that would make it a lot easier because they're easier to change.
There's a methodology which I'm going to totally butcher. The internet can correct me in the comments below.
Yeah,
where I
me too. Points, right? I was very fast about it, so it's fine.
No, everyone tell me where I went wrong. I'm okay with it. Just please don't swear at me. So I do believe that there are sort of two schools of thought to do with the idea of your core personality in a mask. And one of them is that I'm truly Lauren always when I'm by myself, but then I interact with you and I'm wearing the mask of interview host. I'm with my family and I'm wearing the mask of Lauren with family and so on. And then when I'm alone, I take off the masks and I'm just me. But there's a second and opposing perspective, which is that there is no Lauren without a mask, but I am always like, there's all these masks around me and I shift between this one to this one to this one to this one. And so you're always just you, but through a different filter. And I think that I believe in the second one because I'm not sure if those masked versions of me are not me. I think they are me. And I'm wondering if this is synonymous with your idea of viewpoints.
When you were talking, I thought, ooh, that can't be true. There has to be a core you, like without a mask. But I think you're very right. Never, I mean, if you I think when you compare, if you look at yourself being by yourself, it can be very different. On a rainy day, lying in bed and you hear the rain outside is very different from you alone at a beach or walking through a city. It's the environment for sure, or the assignments you give yourself, stuff you have today. I meditate. I was introduced into transcendental meditation a couple of years back. It's a whole process with incense sticks. It spoke very to my useless fact gathering soul, because it was very esoteric, but then also very good though. I love it. In the moments when you go into meditation, like for real, which are seconds, I would say microseconds, I think that might be your true unmasked self. Might be.
So do you think that when we are in the moment between sleep and awake, that we are also our true selves? There's like a 30-second period apparently in the drifting where we go from awake to asleep. I wonder if that is also like a meditative true self.
It feels like that when I meditate, when I succeed, when it goes really well. That is exactly the feeling. You feel almost falling asleep. It's exactly that. Something to be explored, I think.
Yeah. But also, I think that because you're losing active consciousness in a kind of way, at least with the sleeping part, how useful is that? So it may be my true self, but like I'm doing nothing but in a second. So
yeah, or wake up. I mean, that too, right? Because you feel also before you wake up, those seconds you can also feel. When you wake up slowly from a dream, then you can feel it. You would have to have someone wake you up every time you're close to sleeping and then do something with it, which is a form of torture, I believe.
Yes, I do think so. What if every time they woke you up, it was like they were wearing a different mask and you saw how you reacted to them? And then it was like how your true self reacts to these different moments? It sounds horrifying.
It is torture. It's also a good movie concept, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel we could trademark this into a really bad horror movie. Oh, gosh.
You're welcome, the internet. Yeah.
Take this idea, please run with it. Never show us the film. I never want to see that. I can't do horror. I'm not good with it.
No, same.
No.
And then it's called Masks. Yeah.
Masks. Almost Asleep is the subtitle. Almost Asleep.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible.
Almost asleep. She was her true self, and then the masks came.
Yes.
Now she's dead.
She's dead. Yeah, as is everyone in the movie. Sorry.
We could do this forever, unfortunately. But I want to know what your words of wisdom are. If you have anything that you want to share, so you can speak to anyone you want, but I'll give you a suggestion of the younger version of yourself, your improv community, and maybe someone who has never tried improv and they found this video because they were looking for pictures of mountains. What do you want to tell people? What are your words of wisdom?
Oh, that's beautiful. And also a very big responsibility. I love that. Let me put on the difficult thinking face. I would say to my younger self, and I think that goes for people who want to try improv for the first time, stress a lot less, try to be a lot less obedient to what your audience wants and to what your colleagues want. This is going to take into a self-help improv thing very fast. So live in the moment, seize the day, all of that. Yes, namaste a lot. Be curious, I guess. Be more curious about yourself and be curious about this medium, and especially in this horrible phase we're now in, where people don't know what to do anymore with themselves, with their time, and with the rest of the world, is like in your mountainscape, try to find the moments of exploration more. Explore more than you think you know. This is one thing that I find in the young improvisers nowadays a lot, that they know a lot, that they think they know, oh, because I've taken this and this and this workshop and I've read this book or listened to this podcast, that they know, and you only know that you don't know.
Yeah, don't get too sassy. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And if folks want to come and hang out with you, see a show, take a workshop, they're in the Dusseldorf general region and or Germany and or Europe, whatever, how can people find you?
At the moment, it's all online. Of course, you can find me online. I teach classes. I give workshops about really being silly, just playing and being silly and having fun. That's my main thing at the moment. I love to connect with people on Facebook. I will ask probably how you heard of me or how you knew me, but I will friend most people that send me a friend request. I'm on Instagram, also under my name. Love to put out silly pictures. At the moment, we live stream board games every day at European Central Time, 10 in the evening. We have a growing community of people. They just send us presents. We have been doing this for 2 months when the lockdown began, and we now have a following. I feel like I'm a cult leader now. So this arrived yesterday. I got flowers. We got presents. Mostly what they did last week was a video, a 15-minute video. And these are people who meet in a chat. Like all they know of each other are their chat names and the things they write. They don't know each other personally. So they connected via Facebook, I guess. They shot videos of themselves saying, thank you for what we do. And they played it to us. Someone said, you have to play this live on the stream. And I cried for 15 minutes straight. It was amazing. So if you want to hop on that, I think it's the middle of the night for you.
But if it's something that's live but recorded and people can go watch it back?
Yeah, you can see it back on YouTube. And I will put it's on Twitch, twitch.tv/Luzapalooza, but
Lovely. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll put that below. People can have a wee look. That sounds so great. I was thinking when you said people send you gifts, maybe they send you board games, because I know that there's actually a really large production of board games that come out of Germany. So I was thinking there would be some funky, cool board games being sent your way. Yeah.
They did. They sent us a game, Dice Trace, because they noticed we didn't have those. We have a large collection of board games. We're big board game geeks. Mostly my husband. He does a podcast called This Game is Broken. It's a really fun podcast. So we have a lot of board games to begin with, but people now keep sending us games also to play them on the stream, which is nice. We play the game and they can play with us. Like we play things that you could print out at home that you would maybe own.
Cool. Well, if anyone wants to support Improving the World, this vlogcast is brought to you by kind donations and dark chocolate. So if anyone feels that they need to help support, that's what we need.
Dark chocolate is the best.
And
it is.
Hard cash is fine, but dark chocolate is definitely the winner.
Dark chocolate is pretty close to.
Yeah. All right, Ilka, thank you so very much for your time and your energy and the lovely things that you had to say. It was so good speaking with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Namaste to you.
Namaste. My third eye says thank you.
It was very surprising and very lovely, and I would love to continue this.
Yes, let's. I got this from the Pajama Men. If anyone knows the Pajama Men, they did an old sketch where they talk about being I'm so small, and this is my I'm so small people. It's being adorable. I'm so small. Anyways, this is my yeah. This is Improving the World. I'm Lauren, and there's more where that came from. Thank you. Bye. So, did you love the video? If you did, please say kind and beautiful things in the comments down below, and you can subscribe if you're feeling sassy, and look for more Improving the World. Thanks.